So welcome, and welcome to you guys watching this on Ustream, all around Australia and New Zealand and other countries. And welcome to our guests here tonight. Give yourselves a clap for making it. Well done. Give yourselves a big one. Come on. Woo! So what's tonight? What have we got on? Money. You sure? What's tonight? Yell out. Money. I think it needs to be louder. One more time. Money. One more time. Money. Okay. So you've got some notes, got some paper to take your notes. If anyone hasn't got any paper, put your hand up. We'll get some paper for you. And of course, this is when you bring your journals with you. This is the most important reason to have your journals, why you bring them, to take them into this place. That's why they're there. So we're going to start with a little simple thing, and John's going to hand out some cards for you all, just a little 5x3 cards or something like that size, and just one each. If you do that, John, yeah, that's good. And there's a prize. And for those of you watching this, you can play this game, so you need a little card or a piece of paper, but something fairly small. And the prize will be, in this case, because you've turned up, any book or any CD or any tape we have out there, the one with the most will win that. Okay, so it's a very simple game, yes? The one with the most. You ready? The one with the most words that describe money. 30 seconds go now. 30 seconds. The one with the most words that describe money. Oh, we've got a person without a pen. That's good. That's good. Time is ticking. We're 5 seconds. You'd need one, yep. The words that would describe money. 10 seconds gone. No cheating, no talk to your friend. Words that describe money. How would you describe money? Money is what? Money is, money is, money is. 15 seconds gone. Money is. Patrick, you can do this. Money is. 15 seconds. 20 seconds gone. Money is. Money is what? What is money? Money is. 25 seconds. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Stop. Take a deep breath in. No more writing penny. Adding them up. Okay. Give me a number. What do you got? 8. What do you got? 7. 11. Can someone beat 11? Yes. 12. 12. That's it. The winner is, and Harry has? 24. Of course. Give Harry a clap. He's just donated it to the girl next door. Look how generous he is. So 12 is the best. Let's give it to Tasha. She's got that book or a CD or anything you want out there. Okay, you need a microphone. Thanks, Pat. And you want to give that and introduce yourself, and we'll get you get a seat closer. You don't have to do that. Your name is?
Hi, I'm Tash, Laura.
Tash, yeah.
And my words for money: energy, wealth, exchange, flow, abundance, a tool, empowerment, property, reward, fulfillment, business.
Perfect. Give her a big clap. Well done. All right, I want you to turn to someone you don't know and share your 12. So it's not someone you came with, so you don't know this man here. Introduce yourself, say hello, turn around if necessary, and find someone and share your words. Okay, just 20 seconds and we'll get this back. And if you people at home watching this, and think about what words you wrote down. And just 10 seconds. Okay, thank you, buddy. Give yourselves a clap. Well done. Give yourselves a clap. And thank you, buddies. Okay, so what did you learn? We might need some microphones here to ask some people what they learned. What did you learn? That much. Who had in your buddies the same words? Who had all the same words? Who had one or two words the same? Who had no words the same between your buddies? That's a majority of people. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay. Who had the odd negative word? In other words, lack, poverty, shortage, whatever. Who had a few of them? None. Okay. All right. So anyone like to share what they did have? The words that surprised them even when they're under pressure. You're under pressure to do these words very quickly. Anyone like to share? You guys are excited, aren't you? I'm overwhelmed by the excitement. Yeah, we've got one there.
Mine was very different to Tasha's because Tasha wrote a whole set of individual words describing money, which is not how I took your instructions. So mine read, money is energy which is created by your environment and the people that you surround yourself with. It is attracted to you by you. And that's when my 30 seconds ran out.
That's good, eh? How's that for some clever out-of-the-box thinking, eh? Let's give Harry a clap. Well done. All right, so I want you now to turn that card over, and I want you just to close your eyes for a second. I just want you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath in. That means closing your eyes, yeah. And feel safe in that. Uncross your legs, eyes shut. And I want you to just think what it's like to not have money. And just think what's holding you up right now, not having any money. And what you don't have right now. And what it costs you not to have money. And what would be 5 things you could do if you actually had money? If you had some money right now, any amount, doesn't really matter. Take another deep breath in. Just breathing that out. Big smile on your face. Had all the money you ever wanted, what 5 things would you do? And just pick those 5 things. And on 3, just feel the balls of your feet, and 2, get ready to open your eyes, and 1, I want you to stretch up really, really high. Just a big stretch up, really big stretch, and then just, yes. And then start writing those 5 things down, just for you. Just write down what 5 things you would do if money was not an issue. What would you do? And those of you watching this at home, if you do the same right now and participate fully in this. Okay, just finishing that up. And anyone like to share what they've written? Anyone like to say what they would like to do? Yep, we'll just get a microphone for you right here. Just put it on your chin, Brendan. That's good.
Yeah, Brendan, for one, I'd say live in Queensland and visit my niece who lives down this way. So
right.
She's only 18 months. I want to spend time around her, but I want to live in Queensland too.
Okay, so she's here and that's there, so you'd fly back and forward or whatever?
Yep, that's
cool.
right. I'd be able to develop property.
Some property development?
Yep.
Perfect.
I'd take more chances.
Take more chances, wow, okay.
Especially around finances.
Okay, so you'd be more, let's call it adventurous, eh?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. What else?
And employ a housekeeper so I can spend my time doing the things that I want.
Yes.
That's common for Lindsay as well. It's one of the things we want to work towards as soon as we can.
Beautiful. So just to free you up from that.
Yep.
Okay. And I missed one, I think. Brisbane for your niece and take more chance of something in the middle.
Take my chance. I develop property.
Oh, property development, that's right, yeah. Okay. Okay, and good, well done. Anything else?
No, that's it.
So it's only 4?
Yeah.
Okay, got to that. It's good. Give them a clap. Good job. Well done. Perfect. Anyone else? We've got some different ones. Just even one, two. Yep.
I'm Tash, and I would develop a healing coaching training centre, write books, buy property, have holidays, and create an orphanage foster home to empower kids.
Wow. Okay. So books.
Yep.
And a wellness centre.
Yep. Buy property.
Property, yeah.
Holidays.
And holidays.
And an orphanage foster home.
And the orphanage for the homeless. Or the little kids. Well done. Give her a clap. Perfect. Okay. Give her a big hand. Come on. And both. That's it. Good, good. Okay, so next one, just want to close your eyes. And just take another deep breath in. And just breathing that out. Just take another little big breath in. And just breathe that out. Just relax. And the question is, what's it cost you to not have money? What's it cost you? What's it costing you? This could be one word, this could be a number of words, but I'd like it to be a few words. What's it costing you? I really feel what that is. Sex and money. See how I get your attention immediately? The two hottest issues. They work really well when they work. When they're not there, it's amazing how they become issues. So what's it cost you not to have money? Not to have the choices of some of the things that you've perhaps written down there. How does it feel? And being honest with that. Just take a moment to be honest about this. So on 3, feel the balls of your feet. 2, get ready to open your eyes. 1, I want you again, stretch up as high as you can. Real big. And just say yes. And then write this down. Just what's it costing you, okay? Find a little space on that card. What's it cost you? You can write on your paper if you wish. And being as honest as you can with that, being as truthful as possible. Truth will set you free. What's it cost you? Okay, get a minute. I'd like you to go and talk to your buddy again and just share that, what it costs you. And also you could share your things that you want to do if you had all this money and you could do anything you want. Just share them with your buddy, the same buddy that you chose before. Okay, just do that. Take a second.
What are your 5 things that you would be doing?
Okay, just 10 seconds finishing off.
Learning anything I want to, just being able to go and walk, being able to support my
Okay, thank you, buddies, and give them a clap. Well done. Okay, so anyone like to share something that came from that that's interesting, or that you feel you've noticed? Who's learned something here? Who's having some fun, by the way? I'm just curious if you're having some fun learning something. Good. So, anyone like to share with someone different that hasn't spoken yet? You so good work, Ari. So excited. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Ari. I said health, personal relationships and frustration. Health in the sense of stress and doing the things I really don't want to be doing. And personal relationships in the sense of my wife and family tell me all the time that when I'm relaxed, I'm a different person to the one I am when I come back from work and stuff.
You're the only one that has that issue.
Oh, yes. And then frustration and not being able to do the things that I want to do.
Well done. And just coming back to that frustration, you'd be the only one who would have that, about choice, about doing what you want when you want to do it. And if you look at your list, what's behind this list? What is this all about, do you think? We know money's up there somewhere, but what's really behind this list? What's that? Action, yeah. Because money is action, or success is precise action, steps, yeah. There's something in back of that too. Fear, absolutely. Fear is going to show up all the time, and anxiety and stuff. And that's going to be a word that is not a real word, it's a word that we experience, and it's important that it is there. False evidence appearing real. But what else? What's behind that? Pleasure and pain, your pain and pleasure, which is Anthony Robbins, you know. Pain and pleasure, and that that part of the movement towards or away from is going to be part of this, yeah? But what's the driver? Unworthiness. That's certainly, you know, deep within our consciousness, isn't it? Unworthiness, of not feeling okay or worthy. And if we go deeper into that, what's behind that? You are, in between you and this word. In fact, it's not even you, it's the illusion of you, in the sense of the ego that's created all this. Beliefs, it's all about a belief system, yep. What the word is, does that word make sense? And that is the unworthiness of you lacking, not being full, not ever, and we lack this and we lack that. Is this a true word? For some. It's actually an illusion, as this is. But when we come from this place, there is no abundance. There can never be. And there can never be any money. It's always chasing your tail. It always will have stress. It will always have those issues. So, whatever you experience in this particular word seems to have something to do with it, doesn't it? And yet, if money by itself was there, if this word was not here, then this would show up. Does that make sense to everyone? This shows up before that, as does, you know, this word. If this shows up first, if abundance shows up first, then this shows up. Does that make sense? Easy thing to say, hard to notice. And we think that if this is there, this will go away. And I can assure you that's not the case. In fact, this has to go away for this to show up. That makes sense? And until that does show up, it doesn't matter what you do. This will never show up. Or will just be enough just to get by. And that when I worked this out, things started changing for me dramatically. So, what is money? What is this stuff? What is money? Now we can get some very clever ideas. We know there's bits of paper and pictures with dead people on it. Ink, that is the representation of money. What is money? It's an illusion, absolutely. It's a tool. What else is it? It's an energy. What sort of energy? Exchange of energy. I do this, you give me that, I do that. Service is an exchange of energies, and as we serve, we exchange energy for money. Yep. What else is money? Flow. It is absolute flow. And if it gets stopped and banked, the flow stops. That's why it's called a bank. Yes, what else? Certainly is flow. And if there's lack, can there be flow? No. So, what else is money? Money is an idea, just an idea. But if this is present to the idea is a inward thought. So tonight we're going to be talking my favourite subject, money, and talking about how do we get this into abundance, this into flow. Do you think that everyone's got it handled so there is no lack for everybody? Do you think everyone's got the handle? What do you think? I tell you, I have lack. And, you know, it seems to be like a shadow. And the more it shows up, or whenever it shows up, it stops me from being who I could truly be. So it's not something that you will get this solved. It's with you all the time. Just like your fears and anxieties are with you. They're not true, they're just made up things, but they are on this planet and affecting you in your day-to-day. Tonight I want to talk about not just the theoretical stuff of this, but for an observation, for you to become the witness for this, for you, for this flow to happen and for abundance to show up for you. What I've discovered over the last 40 years in this business is that money is just not, seems to be understood. In fact, it doesn't seem to be taught anywhere, very much at all, certainly not at school. How much time was spent at school teaching you about money? Or even anything to do with creation of money? Apart from one thing that you were taught, and just one thing, just this. That's the only thing you were taught about this just over broke issue. And unfortunately, when you get that very early and your father and mother, you know, presented that story with you and you had that as your story and you've had that story all your life, it's a really hard mindset one to stop. And sometimes, as Richard was just sharing with me outside, you can go on a little adventure, you know, to try and do a business thing or try and do something or try and chase share trading or chase real estate or try and accumulate money. And you're trying it because you know this is not going to work. Everyone clear about this? This is not going to work. It doesn't matter what you do, because you will stop. And even people who spend $30,000 learning how to become something or other, you know, it's a job, swapping their life for money on an hourly basis. One day that must end too. And do we still need an income? Yes, we do. And we need to transition that income. So there are a number of ways that you know about, and yet unfortunately we tend to go back to this one. Old Faithful here, I call it. The issue is that one day it must stop. So the idea is not to disregard it or not to make out that this is a terrible thing. It's just that we do need a different plan. That's if you're going to have what you put down there for your list of what you could do. Now, just to refer to that, and I just want you to get a reference of what you wrote for what you wanted to do. Sometimes we think that we need money to do our list. But let's just say we look at this list. You know, develop property. Do we need money to develop property? Hands up those of you who think you need money to develop property. Not one hand up. But that's a training you've learned, that you can have a joint venture partner, you can have vendor finance, you can have, in fact, the banks have money. You need the idea, because money is an idea, and so you don't need any. So this is just Brendan's list. For her to go and visit his niece, does he need to have money? Depends how you can think out the box. Depends. Would be easy to buy the tickets, but could we get an offset, a contra? Could we have a business send him there because he has to do work down here? I could think of about 37 versions of how to do this without him spending anything and visit his niece. Who's following this conversation with me somehow? Every hand's up pretty well. It was about becoming a bit more adventurous, being a bit more challenging, if you like. You'd take more chances. Remember that? Now, isn't it interesting that Brendan was saying, he's the only one who would think this way, that you need money to take chances. Or if you had more money, you'd take more chances. Is that true? Well, it could be for some people who have this, who lack that, but an abundant person, do they need more money to take more chances? What do you think? Not at all. A person in flow, do they need more money to take more chances? But if a person has a mindset of a job, would they need more money? Absolutely. Because their security is in the job, they think. And of course we understand there is no security in a job, but they think there is security in that, just like they think there's security in a house, as if the house is going to be theirs, or that there is some ownership to this. So, and to get a housekeeper. In fact, quite the reverse is true. Housekeeper would free them up so they can make more money. In fact, coming home and washing, ironing, doing things. If there's one single thing you could ever do, is to have a housekeeper. Firstly, you're making contribution to someone else, which is good for a 95%er. Secondly, it gives you time to build your wealth and to relax and to be able to leverage your life. And thirdly, it is such a beautiful feeling when you come home and someone's tidied the kitchen and did some washing, ironed a few blouses or whatever, and just did the bathroom, just the most basic things. And that's what our ladies do at our place across the road. They come, when we're here, they come, well, we used to live here, they used to come twice a week, just for a couple of hours. It's just like, imagine when you go, I get a vacuum cleaner and start vacuuming here after you leave. Imagine. You wouldn't think of doing it at your work. I wonder why you think of doing it at home. And there would be a language for the lack one that would say, oh, well, someone's got to do it, and, I've got to do it. But that is really like. So what I'm saying here in this list is it doesn't require any money. And if I go to Dash's one, again, I could do, to write a book, do I need money? No. To open a wellness centre? No. I can do a joint venture. Property, I don't need any. Can I have a holiday, particularly with the tax department paying for half of it, if we set it up correctly? And, to help the homeless, to do that, do we need money? We need better ideas, because money is $43 trillion is traded every day. There's just massive amounts of money available. And as Deepak Chopra would say, when they asked him, well, where are we going to get the money from this thing? Where are we going to get? His response was very quick, when they're trying to do the wellness thing and everything. They said, where are we going to get it from, Deepak? He said, from where it is. That was his answer. It's already there. We're just going to get it from there. Sounds logical, doesn't it? It's already there. But can you see, he's coming from abundance, he's coming from flow, he's not coming from this. And what happens is that this becomes the predominant thing in your life, but it's an unconscious predominant thing. We're not sure that it's actually present until we write lists and things and start to look and see how we show up. Who's following this conversation here with me somehow? So, we're wishing for one thing, here's our list, but we're praying for something else completely differently. Our prayer underneath it is lack. If you don't have what you really have on your list, I'm going to suggest that lack is going to be part of this. And although we don't like to think this way because we think we're fairly positive people and we've got it together and already our defences are up and so it's all right for you, smarty, because you got all this money and and I haven't and whatever. That's just the ego speaking. And it's true out there for 95% of the population who actually think that the rich people have money and they should be giving it to me. That'd be, or the government's got so much, they need to give it to me. Or don't they understand how hard it is? And I grew up in this environment and I need some. So that lack, unfortunately, begins from home, begins from school, begins from everything. And the whole thing of OneLife that we talk about here in our trainings are all about this word, about abundance. Having said that, this is a magical thing, and it's not until you live from this place will that ever disappear. When you're trying to get to it, it will never come to you. You must come from abundance, not go towards it. Now, these are concepts that are hard to remember or get back to, because when we've been trained to go after something and we're into our push thing, we're pushing for something as opposed to pull, and pull will always work better than push. When Stan was arrested for robbing the bank, and they said, "Stan, why did you do that? Why'd you rob the bank?" He said, "That's where the money was." Well, poor, bless you, poor Stan was wrong on a couple of counts. Firstly, the money really wasn't in the bank. It doesn't come from the bank. And secondly, he paid very dearly for this lesson. Average bank robber gets less than $10,000 and spends usually 10 years in jail. So it's about $1,000 a year, a bit less. Fairly poor investment, don't you think? And the amount of skill and dexterity and planning they put into this, if they just put it into creating of income, it might be a very... So most robbers are not very smart, obviously. Now, at least they are doing something, as opposed to just going zzz, bump, zzz, bump, zzz, bump, and going off to work every day. At least they've got some adventure in them. So I'm going to give you a formula which you may want to write down for money, because my experience is that people have not been ever taught about money. They're in schools, they're not taught, all they're taught is to get a job. They're not actually taught to build any wealth. And who's ever been to a financial planner? You know, who's ever been to a financial? Quite a few of you here, pretty well most, and those watching this. What do financial planners do? They make commissions, yep. And we've got one downstairs, so we're not being nasty here, but financial planners will tend to invest your money if you have some. If you don't have some, or don't have an income stream, or whatever they... Next? You understand? And they look for people with large superannuation funds, wealthy people like Roscoe here, who's got millions of dollars and, you know, huge, massive, massive amounts. They look for people who've got money to invest, and they will take your money and invest it for you. At OneLife, we create money with a dollar. That's not a financial planning issue, yet it is a financial planning issue. It's the creation of money. Very different from financial planning. Who's following that conversation with me? Somebody, just put your hand if you're following what I'm saying here. So the formulas that I'm going to give you on money, you haven't learned from school, and usually I'm not being given to you before. Firstly, 95%er has a formula that goes like this. They create an income which equals their expenses. Does that sound correct? Income equals expenses. In fact, what percentage of the population spend all they earn or more than they earn? What number would come up? 95% spend all they earn or more than they earn, and that's the formula they use. Bob Proctor's got a really good formula for this one. The formula goes this way. And for those who can't see that from this point, it's FG plus E equals I. FG is your financial goals plus your expenses equals the income that you deserve. Make sense? Financial goals plus your expenses equals your income. Now, this plan is a an intentional plan to say, this is how I want my money to work, how I want my life to work, how I want my choices to work, and I put this out there as my plan. This is your page 30, if you like, your 7-year plan from the graduates of our program. And our job, I guess, is to help you with this formula to create that. And the streams of income that you will use will be real estate and shares and business. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of business stuff tonight. And plus, and whether that's internet, whatever, but they are going to be largely one of these 3 areas, yes? And you'll notice none of them have working in it. None of them have jobs in there. And our minimum income stream for this to work is 5. And our first plan in our programs within the first year is to create 2 income streams. And then add a new income stream each year. Is it easy? No. Is it simple? Yes. Will it take some skill? Yes. Will it take some focus? Absolutely. And I always say to people when they say, how long is it going to take? And I say, how much time are you spending at work? And how's it working out for you so far? And when you do the 40-40 plan, 40 hours a week for 40 years, that's a big investment to become a pensioner. So our plan is a 7-year plan. Some have been able to do it in 3, some in 5. Some even got a gentleman here who did it in 1 year, did $1 million in a year, which is, and also increased his business by $1 million in the same year. And I'm going to ask that gentleman to even talk a little bit about how he sees money and how he sees what he did. He doesn't know I was going to ask him that, but I'm always asking him to do things like that. So, your plan has got wouldn't be the same as Harry's, and it may be very different from the person sitting next to you, but these are going to be the vehicles you use, yes? And the order in which you use them is up to you. And what I would go to is, what is the simplest, easiest flow for you? What do you love to do? Unfortunately, again, that was not something that you did necessarily when you started. Some of you may not be working right now, you are, or whatever. There's been a general job that you've done in your life, or the one that would be predominantly you. If I point to you, I'm going to get you to yell it out what you do, or what are you up to, okay? You got the general idea. I'm going to ask you what it is that's earned your money, what's been your role in life. And you may have done different things, but predominantly there's one, this. Could be administration, could be a carpenter, could be I'm a whatever, you know. So, what would you say, Dan? Cable layer, okay?
Speech pathologist.
Speech pathologist. I've got to be very clear how I speak now.
Electrician.
Electrician to start with.
Childcare.
Childcare.
Orthotist.
What's that?
Orthotist.
Orthist?
Orthotist.
Orthistist.
Orthotist.
Orthotist. Say it in English for me.
Medical grade footwear practitioner.
Ah, orthodontic.
Customer shoes.
Shoes, custom-made shoes.
For disabled people.
In office.
Office administration work. Student.
Information system.
Information system, IT kind of person. A bit of dabble. Billiard table fitter. See how specialised that is. Accounts, account finalising. Yep. And before all that was electrician. Okay, for 14 years. Admin. So only 50% of your work time have been a property investor, Harry. But some little things before that, but we're talking predominantly, but yes, that's good. Admin, and next door? Student. Nursing. Admin. Scientist. Project management. Business leadership and administrational things. And student. Okay. And John? Marketing. And before that, a lot of IT stuff and things like that. And Patrick? Sales. And Seamus? Glazier. Yep. So, all these jobs, if you could turn the clock back and start again with now knowing what you do know, would you have taken any of those jobs on? Now, some people would say, yeah, I just can't wait to do this. But for a lot of people, If you wanted to do one of these, why weren't you working in real estate? Why weren't you working for a broker if you wanted to do this? Or why weren't you in the business of the business that you wish to be involved? You want to be a, I don't know, restaurateur, why don't you work in a restaurant? In other words, what the job that you got was probably given to you as a thought very early as you were trying to think, how do I earn some of this stuff, money, from a job, and you've got to get a job and get a resume and work for money. Can you see how before you know it you're in the system? The flow, unfortunately, going the wrong way. It's called the sewerage system, it's the wrong flow. And although it still flows, but you end up in a lot of, you understand? And it stinks, yeah. And you get churned up in the way that just in case, and they put you through the machine and then send you out to the ocean somewhere. There is flow, but there's all these things floating there with it, you know, bits of paper and all that stuff. So what I'm really saying is that the role that you've taken on, and this is the first day, we've started a new decade here, you know, new decade, and you can do anything. You can do anything that you want, anything. And whatever you do, if you're of service, this will show up. And the better you are of service, the greater this will show up. And the more leverage you give this, the greater this will show up. So all about wealth, we know, is value times leverage plus conscious control. So we've got to add value, and we add value in ourselves normally in a job by having, you know, a better resume or something, but we do it in real estate by adding value to a property. We do it in shares by buying low, selling high, adding value. And we leverage this, our leverage system, because we are the fulcrum. If you are in a job, there is no leverage, and that's why wealth can never be produced from a job. And the conscious control is all about what we do here at OneLife, and it's about you taking charge of your money instead of giving it to somebody, that you become an investor. So money is always about you investing it, but not necessarily giving it away. So that's the plan. Now, this mindset shift is something that it seems to be hard because of the way we're brought up and trained and to do all this stuff. It seems to be quite a challenge, and given most people have really no idea how to do this. And if they go and check in with their parents or go and check with someone, they actually even get more confused. In fact, if they check with their friends, it's even more confusing. In fact, it's like going to see a sick doctor trying to get better, asking someone who's in more trouble financially of what they think you should be doing. And yet people do that constantly. Ask their friends as if their friends would know. So tonight's money thing is really about a change in mindset, a complete change in the way we think about money, and we're mindful of this word here, this black word. And that mindset is something that needs fairly constant awareness. And it's the only choice you have, the only true choice in control. Most of this stuff of lack is about control. In fact, it's the worst part of your control. And that's a word of fear as well. We're all clear that you have no control over most things. You're all clear about this? There's only one thing you have control over, only one. And even that, when you're unconscious, you don't even have control of that. But we're clear you can't control the weather, you can't control the traffic, you can't control your children, you can't control your wife, husband, you can't control your job, can't control your customers, you can't control anything really, except what goes in here. The only choice you have, is what you put this idea of money as abundant in your life. And when that shows up, so does flow show up, and so does the world show up. When you show up, the universe shows up, and so does your wealth. When you allow lack to go into there, when you allow control to go in, you allow fear to go in there, obviously no abundance can show up. It doesn't matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter how much. And I've seen people, good people, work very, very hard, even using our systems, and they can still sabotage what goes on. And I'm going to suggest the reason that is that lack. Penny does a little thing on clearing out your closets, cluttered. She calls it decluttering. Who would like a penny to come and declutter their closet, their home? I'm just curious if you'd like a declutterer. A lot of hands going up here. Why do people keep things, do you think? Why are they cluttered? Lack? This word's going to come up again and again. People keep clothes just in case they become poor and have to wear them. And there's a whole lot of stuff behind this about, you know, not wanting to be wasteful and things like that. But they were wasteful even sometimes in the purchase to start with because they weren't thinking when they bought it. And they paid a lot of things, money for stuff, and they don't even like wearing that stuff, and so they keep it just in case they might fall in love with it, but they don't ever, and it slowly sits there for 2 years, 3 years, and finally they throw it out. And people who carry a lot of things and have to move, you know, and there's boxes and boxes and boxes. This is always going to be part. There's a woman looking at a man right now. She's just got the look. I'll explain to you later, Ari.
I already know.
Yeah. But tortoises do that. They take everything with them. They take their entire house everywhere they go. And just in case, because it could rain or anything could happen, or you might just need that. You never know when you might need that. Just in case. It's always just in case. And there's storage bins, and there's storage this, and there's trucks, and there's boxes that we haven't opened from the last 2 moves. This is only one person in the entire room where this would be applicable. When you live in an abundant life, it all will be replaced. And it's interesting to see, you know, what went on with the floods. And we opened up our little, one of our abundant commercial industrial buildings, and I understand we're on Sunrise, about a drop-off point, and people came from everywhere and filled it up about 3 times for the flood relief. One man donated 1,500 pairs of thongs. Now, why would we need 15? You'd never know. Obviously there's 1,500 feet out there, and when you've got your shoes wet, I suppose thongs would be very good walking through flood water. And it was very good, and we were very happy. And trucks came and took it. And when you look in that room, and I saw some of the stuff, some of it was a lot of junk too, obviously. And it's a bit like Mrs. Paul, they couldn't find anywhere else to throw things. But it was great that they turned up, and great that they were giving, and to them that may have been a big thing. And when you see what went on for them, and what's going on now, and how people, wow, I've got my feet wet, and I'm going to get $25,000 here from the government. There'll be a new levy, or I don't have to work. There's a lot of other stuff going on, isn't there, with this lack? Someone's going to have to fix this. And again, it's not judgment or criticism, it's just what is, and it all will come from these areas of fear and control. So the 3 areas you know about in this money which stops us from being wealthy are always the same 3. And you can see, and you want to write them down, though, worth checking to see how much of it is. Number 1 is fear, of course, and that fear can be fear of success or fear of failure. So you might want to write it down for whatever it is for you. Is it fear of success? Is it fear of failure? And in our unconsciousness, we may not even know. The second one is our anger and or our frustration. And if you want to know how much of that is, just check Dad out and check Mum out and see how much anger and frustration is in your family, and that will give you a hint on that. And the last one, which is always determining whether if you win the lottery, whether you actually get to keep the money or not, which 95%ers very rarely do. They usually spend it all within 7 years or less, is the unworthiness one. Number 3 is unworthiness. Where the worthy ones aren't lacking, when they receive this bountiful winnings, end up having the money. Now, I'm also just not talking about people who are struggling here. I'm talking about very wealthy people. I had coffee and somebody with Dr. Klaus this morning, and he was telling me about a book he read on happiness, and he was sharing a story in the book about the new one that this guy's put out, who wrote The Millionaire Next Door. And he was saying that the interesting observation they made is the high income earners are usually the worst at handling money. because they get used to earning money, lots of it, and they want to spend it because it's all about show. So they need a BMW, and they need to, take the kids to this school, and it's got to be this suburb, and it's this car, and it's this and that and the other. And it's an endless list. And the people who are the blue-collar workers who work, they actually often, like they don't get a lot, but they just seem to handle what they have, and they work on this principle of they have an income and they have their expenses, and they kind of make it work, and they just get by, and that's how it happens. And if they can save it and buy a house, they're kind of really happy. And of course there's the infrared, the invisible ones who are victims, and they're earning less and spending more than they earn, and they live in this poverty consciousness most of their life. So poverty consciousness, which comes from lack, will never ever develop money. So the three areas, the three sins associated with this, and if you want to write these ones down, seeing we're taking these great notes, are mainly control, trying to control things. The second one, does anyone remember from these three? Good opinion of others is the number 2. What other people think of you, which will stop your ability to build wealth. Keeping up with the Joneses, which is the problem I just spoke of. Does anyone remember the last one? Not our major people here, but... So control, good opinion of others. And the last one is attachment. Being attached. Attachment is a huge lack. Scarcity, city of scare. And when people hold boxes and hold things, they're attached to things. And with that, there's a lack, because they think they won't be able to replace it. And they have stories about how priceless everything is and how it's impossible to do it, and has a memory to it, and it has all these things. Most of the memory, when people go, oh, we lost this in the flood or whatever, and oh, it's those personal things, most of it's in their past. And the attachment to the past is incredible. And this is a sadness of the ego, of the separation that happens for ego, because it's always living in the past. In fact, the whole personality we have here is built on the ego's interest in separation and having you suffer. Your good spirit part only knows now. That's all it ever knows. That's where all creation comes from. But your ego is always of the past, and that's why memories are of the past. All the things and it's supported in all movies and all life and all fairy tales and everything about this, but there is no, it's a history issue. And while you're held hostage in a history, you're held hostage in whatever that is. Now some of it could be beautiful and massive, but it is over whichever way you go, and can only be now. This is your today, this is where you are. The difficulty we've got is we're taking a lot of that lack with us from our past and polluting our present, which affects our future. Interesting words to understand, and everyone understands these words, but you walk out of here and tomorrow you're back in wherever you are with that, and thinking about trying to get some certainty in an uncertain world, trying to get some security in a non-secure world. There is no security out there, there's only security inside. It's an inside job. Trying to get love from someone else. Any place you can get love is from yourself. Any place where love is. And love is the only thing that there is. And the fact that you may be connected with someone and experience this is a wonderful thing, but the minute you're searching for it outside of yourself, you'll spend your days in some kind of suffering. So when we're trying to get into abundance, we're trying to get into flow, we're trying to get into money, and most of the things that we've been taught in our unconsciousness are going to be in the way. Does this all make sense? Now, I've downloaded a lot to you in this. I'd like to open this up for a conversation. Because what we really want to move out of this is not just all this stuff. We want to move out what's our steps, what are we going to do, what are you going to do, how are you going to, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? That's the real question. Because there's a line here, a new decade, new beginning, and you have all the choice in the world. And as long as you're not attached to the past, you're not trying to control it, only control what goes on in your head, and you're not concerned about the good opinion of others, you can do anything with your life. In this country, you're a free person. So, open for conversation here. Open for conversation. Anyone like to make a contribution, question, or observation. Yep, microphone right here. We'll just get it for you. And as it's going there, the words I want you to write down: money is a great, great servant, just a very poor master. And when you're working for money, it's masterful of you. Money is the master. You are the servant. But when you have money working for you, you are the master, and money is the servant. Now, simple enough concept, and yet most people are totally unconscious to this concept in their day-to-day operation. They do not live by that consciousness. Money is a great servant, just a very poor master. Tommy?
I just went back last night to Napoleon Hill's book, Think
Yeah.
and Grow Rich.
Yep.
And following the story of Barnes and Edison, it's about how you deal with the intangible, which is the initiative, the will, and I think I forgot the third one. Yes, so you're dealing with a lot of intangibles at the start.
Intangibles, yes.
Yes. So, like, yeah, you have lack of money and you have lack of assets, lack of everything.
And when you think that is money an intangible? Depends. If it's an idea, it's absolutely. And giving a printing press that prints it, is it a make-believe piece of monopoly? In God we trust. In 1976, money, if you could go into the US with your dollar, you could get the same with gold. You could, $100, $1,000, you could get gold to replace it from any bank. That's been dead and buried a long time. If you worked into a bank, they'd just fall over laughing. And they just print some more. And we're in an era now, this intangible situation, where money's being printed at such a rate. We'll be 10, 15 years in the global position just to try and fix up this debt that's about. Huge, huge issue. And most governments will not face the truth of this. They will just get by and print some more and try and fix this up.
Well, which is, I think the third one, which is faith, that they'll fix everything
Yeah,
up.
yeah, they will, them, those other people.
Yeah.
Now, does that give us some opportunity? Of course, flow. But if you're focused on this lack, then there will be no opportunity, there will be just hard work. Absolutely. Well done, Tommy. Thank you for your contribution. Give him a clap. When you look at the planet, what we've done, I think Roger was doing a really good plan. I think he drew a line, something like this. This is, the 65 billion years or something we've had. And, somewhere here, pretty late, some amoebas crawled out of the ocean or something, and then we get some dinosaurs. And that lasted a very short time, and there were no humans, and everything was devastated. In 65 million years, some more amoebas crawled out of the ground and out of the water, and then, humans have been made. That's about I think that's an exaggeration on this. And that's the entire monkeys right through to now. And you think just in 2 years how delicate everything is and what we can do as a species in our money. We're just a flash. And we probably will get wiped out again and then start again. And what's behind all this? What are you going to do in this little dash that you've got between on your gravestone where it says you were born at such and such a year and then dash to the next year when you died, and what's in the dash? That's all your life is about. And here we are trying to get some sense of security in this, as if there is some. And yet this is just a game. So contribution observation about money and what this means and what we're going to do with the rest of life and what have we observed, what have we noticed. Who's having some fun? Who's learning something? Good. Anyone else like to contribute? Yes, microphone right there.
Roy, I love how you say abundance. Oh, you come from abundance, not to abundance. So that it is all within, and once you believe in that, then you create it.
Once you believe in that, then this is gone. Can you see that? Once you believe that you already have your abundance, then you couldn't possibly have any of this lack. But if you don't believe, if you think it is out there, then you have to only come from lack. What percentage of the population are always thinking it's out there and they're working towards it, trying to save up, build up, do something, grab whatever? What percentage of the population do that? Just any number. And that's why there's so much space up on top of the mountain. You know, there's not many people. And it's just a consciousness thing. And yet it's so obvious when you're there. It's just that, you know, how do you escape from a box? You know, when you get out of the box, where is the instructions clearly written on how to get out? On top of the box. When you're in the box, you can't see. All you see is... And when you get out of that box, you just get into another box and you're trying to figure out how to get out of that box. And the instructions are clearly written on top of the box outside. But you've got to get out of the box to see it. And the only way you do that is in consciousness by becoming a witness to the event. When you become a witness to your own patterns, your own games. There was a lady in our program the other day, this last abundance, and she became a witness to her own practices, her own patterns. And to see this woman transform herself in this, when she became the game, when she realised the game that she was playing. Who's noticed that they've been playing games that don't serve them? I'm just curious if has anyone noticed this? Yep. Well, everyone's noticed that. Who's also had a belief that they were so sure of, but as they grew older, they discovered that belief was completely untrue. Yep. Now, it's not until you become the witness to this and the witness to money and what money truly is that you can escape from the prison you've created. So, in this flow and in our program, we use these words. Does anyone know what these stand for? Anyone remember these words? These letters? PSI. Principle, strategies, not IT, tactics, okay? So, money is, we talk about principles with money, yes? Principles. What's a principle with money? Does anyone like to share a principle? Just yell it out. Property, all profit is done on the purchase. That's a principle. All profit is made on the purchase. Day one, bang. So you're buying under the market. So you've made your profit before you've begun. Principle. Why become an investor? What's the principle? Why do that? The reason for becoming an investor? To have money work for you. The main reason is to create income, which is similar. The purpose of becoming an investor is to produce income, and therefore there is no possible way to call yourself an investor if you're buying residential real estate and putting money in to support that. You are not an investor. The purpose of becoming an investor is to create income streams to replace your job. And so unless you really take that principle on, it doesn't matter what else you do, if your foundation is wrong, the building will fall down. What's another principle? Money will work harder than you can ever work. It'll work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and never whinge, complain, or want maternity leave, holiday pay, sick pay, or any other. All it wants is a boss. That's all it ever wants. Does this make sense? All the principles. What's a strategy? What's a strategy with money? You guys have done our program. Okay, a strategy is, instead of income, to create an asset can create income. And it can do it faster than you can save up. So that's a strategy, and the strategy we're going to use, or the strategy we use in this market, and for the last 7 years, is trading. The trading market. This is not a buy and hold market, this is a trading market. And the quicker you learn this, the quicker you'll start getting into flow. And that's against a lot of tortoises, a lot of owls, because they're so used to hanging on to things, and they grew up in the 90s and stuff where high inflation, we have low inflation, and a commitment to actually control this money. The only way you can build your wealth, in my view, in this market, truly, is through trading. And you can trade in property, buy low, sell high. You can trade in shares, buy low, sell high, buy low. You can trade in businesses doing the same thing. they can also be combinations of buying real estate, commercial, putting a business in it. That can do that. And in cases here, that trading position can create growth in assets. So these are strategies that are taught in our program, and what needs to happen is that those strategies need to be implemented, because without implementation, this is not going to show up. And it's going to be this and fear and control that's going to stop you from being involved. To even get people to do a dream team, a lot of fear shows up, a lot of control shows up, a lot of lack shows up. A lot of scarcity shows up with wanting, well, how much are they going to get and how much they put in? They're not working hard enough, they're not doing this, they're not, I want to get this, I want to get, and they don't even show up on time. Look at that. And they're not any good anyway. All the mindy stuff of, why not? How can it not work? Any other contribution observations, or you just want me to keep on going here? Yes? Ross, we'll get a microphone.
I was thinking earlier, Roy, when you were talking about, well, you weren't actually talking about it, but I was thinking about the relationship between fear and faith.
Yes.
And abundance and lack.
Wow. Yes.
And when somebody once said that fear knocked at the door and faith answered it, and there was no one there.
Yes.
There's something similar to be said about the relationship between abundance and lack.
Yes.
And then I was giving some thought about the various ways that in my past that I've dealt with the challenge that you spoke about, that we all face in terms of lack from time to time. And the first lesson to me was gratitude.
Yes.
And the gratitude that we must have for whatever we have, for wherever we are in the lineup of abundance, as it were. And then the second thing was responsibility for wherever we were, and wherever we are at any time. And to my mind, if we take responsibility for where we are in all aspects, and we're grateful for what we have from wherever we've come from, that those two lessons
must lead to
abundance.
Absolutely.
And must diminish lack and the fear of lack to such an extent that abundance then becomes prominent and paramount in our lives.
Exactly right. Well said. And what comes up for me in this is that little drawing we do on when our life is moving, this is our flow, and we want to be in flow. And sometimes, our ego gets up here and gets a bit carried away and thinks it's pretty clever, Or sometimes we experience this thing called upset, okay? Where we're down, where we're feeling a bit depressed. These are the two areas, either a bit over the top or we're a bit down here. Who's ever experienced these two, by the way? And it's called life. And it tends to do this. Right? Sometimes we spend more here, sometimes we spend more here. And what Roscoe's just talking about is how do we get back down here and how do we get back up here? And does anyone remember the words that go in here? Gratitude is what Ross is talking here. So gratitude. And once you have gratitude, ego drops away. Once you experience gratitude, there is no other than this feeling of abundance, of giving, of being of service, of being calm, being free, being full, this is freedom here. Okay? Yeah, and what is the one, not you, Tommy, what's the one, do you remember, Roscoe, what takes you up here? To get you out of this upset. Who's ever been upset, by the way? Anyone? Yep. Responsibility. Yep, this is actually giving up blame and justification, and this is living a responsible life. All the things you said, which will bring you to here, but there's a special one, yeah? Forgiveness. This will give you a forgiven world. We live in a forgiven world, if you really understand what the world is about. This is understanding And it's always about acceptance down here. Acceptance. The minute you accept the upset, the minute you accept things, it leads to understanding, and understanding leads to freedom. The minute you fight this, in this, and blame and justify and have this game, then you are constantly held hostage in this depressive mode. And people will act in a very depressive way either through two ways. They will be angry outwardly, or vicious even, but certainly frustrated. Or anger turned inward, which is the worst version, is depression. And people who are very quiet but really unhappy inside are doing massive damage to their bodies. And the more they suppress this, the more they'll go and use other techniques. They'll eat a lot, or they'll do something, but normally it will show up in their bodies with disease. So acceptance, understanding leads to this flow, and you're right on the money. Gratitude here will take you out of this stuff, all to move forward in flow. Thank you, Roscoe. Anything else you want to add? It's very good, right on the money. Let's give him a clap. Good job, well done. Just want to share this book with you because it's our book of the month. And this guy wrote this book, Jim Collins. He wrote the Built to Last book. And so who's read Built to Last? It was a very, very popular book. Anyway, it was a great book. And the opening paragraph in this opening chapter, he says, because it was a #1 bestseller, Built to Last. And the guy got him in the corner and said, yeah, great book, yeah, just a complete waste of time. He said, really, why is that? And he said, well, you know, your whole book was about successful companies. And of course they're built to last. When they're successful, that's easy. How did you get them to successful? How did you get a company into success? That's the bit you missed out. So I wrote this book, Good to Great. So, good companies into great companies. And he goes through how this happens. It's very, very clever. And I believe everyone's pretty good, you know, about doing stuff. And how do you get into greatness? How can you be outstanding? How can you be outstanding? If you're just good, you get poor money. If you're poor, you get no money. Simple as that. But if you're good, you just get poor money. If you're, you know, kind of moving up the line a bit and become a bit exceptional, you may get good money. If you're outstanding, you get exceptional money. Make sense? So you're always one rung behind where you think you are. In this book, he's got, firstly, he maintains it's all about leadership. And he says the 5 levels of leadership. It's a really, really powerful section on leadership. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. And this is a leadership issue of a choice of not choosing this and this. These are not leadership issues. These are all fear-based issues. This is a leadership issue of surrender. And he then goes on to say who and then what. Who first, then what. What that means is right people with you in the right roles doing the right things. And Ross, you'd have huge reference to that in your career. And Harry, you too. Having the right people doing the right thing at the right time. Having and attracting those. And same with you, young Jonathan. When you've had the right people with you and the right team, what you can leverage, what you can do in that. And you can go around the room, anyone who's successful, result that you're putting that team together right now, you get the wrong one, it just takes you out. It takes you so long to fix it. Who's following this conversation? Who works in companies that have some wrong people in the company? I'm just curious if you work in one of them. And, you know, it could even be you, this is the one. Because if you're not happy, you're the wrong person. That's really the bottom line. And not that it's got to make you happy, you've got to be happy within you to be, and everything can be turned around. And we're just building a new organisation right now, working with John on OneLife Direct, and it's a new company for this new decade, and you're going to hear lots about this. It's about a university degree we're going to have and how we're going to take this on. So you'll be hearing about this in the next program next month. And it's all about right people, right place, and it's about leadership. It's about creating leaders. And in this room, I'm already looking at some that will be in this leadership area. And it's a great journey, because that is the vehicle you take your life on. That's what you are known as in the end. Not did you have a house or not, or did you buy the car. And it was never what you did, it's what you didn't do. It's always the things that you wish you did do. And so it's really about that team. And then number 4 was confronting the brutal facts, the truth. And really it's about, you know, stop working on stuff that you're not good at. There's many things I'm not good at, and the more I try and be good at those, the worse it gets. But the more I bring in people that are good at stuff that I'm not good at, the easier my life is. And that doesn't mean to say I can't learn to use a computer. John's helping me, and Simone and others. And, you know, I get there, it's like it's frustrating for them to be around me, but I do my little thing. And I did actually send an email the other day, which was a really amazing thing. And I sent something to Ty today. I was so impressed that I could copy something and send it to him. And it magically happened. So I'm getting there. But this is not obviously where I'm going to spend the rest of my life, and yet I need to be able to, like, write things and do that. But where I'm brilliant, and that's where I need to be, and I'm going to be good to be, and it'll be great to be at that. And number 5 is the hedgehog concept, and this is about the fox and the hedgehog. Okay, who do you think? And you have a vote here. Who do you think you want to be, a hedgehog or a fox? Hands up the foxes. 1, John. Hands up the hedgehogs. Okay. Who's unsure if they're a fox or a hedgehog? Who doesn't put their hand up no matter which question I ask? Okay, you want to be a hedgehog, Johnny. You are naturally a fox. We've got to get you thinking like a hedgehog. The fox is waiting there all the time for the hedgehog to come out. And the hedgehog just comes out, starts digging away, and the fox tries to attack, and the hedgehog just... Fox, yeah. Hedgehog doesn't have to do much. Just get through life and does these little things, but uses very, very clever things. Well, fox is cunning, but usually gets shot. Gets taken out. Very fast, got lots of skills. It runs out of life. So we've got to think like a fox, but act like a hedgehog. Makes sense? Good concept. And there's some great little simplicity circles, he calls them, and I think they're just so clever. As he goes through all the different companies, I just found this book so fascinating. And I'd really recommend you get it. We don't have many copies left now, so just send us an email, we'll send it to you. And this is the little circles. And the top one says, what are you deeply passionate about? Now, we've got people here who've got wellness things and stuff like that. You know, what you really want to do, make a difference on this planet. That's one of your circles. And what can you be best in the world at? Is that a good one to intersect that circle? So what are you passionate about? What are you best in the world at? And the last one, what drives your economic engine? What drives you? Now, there's a lot of explanation on those, but where they intersect is this space called where you can live. And when you look at 95%ers, they're often passionate about something but completely disassociated with it. They're doing stuff that they don't even like to do. And then what they really love to do, they're not doing. They're doing some other job. You know, we ask the accounts team all the time, how do you like accounting? No, hate it. So why are you doing that for? Well, my father thought it was a good idea. But, you know, like, hello. And then what drives you economically? I mean, are we all clear? We can always get a job. That's not going to be difficult. You always get some income. Thank you. Some income, but it's not going to be what, if the driver of that is lack, because you need it, then how can you ever have abundance? Now, does that mean we've got to do this immediately? No, we've got to transition this, and that's what OneLife University is all about. It's about a process of that transition. It's about you taking charge of your money. There are people in the room here that have spent a lot of money with some people who are not our company but others, and they've spent a lot of money on doing that, but what they've really done is, you know, really spend a lot of money. So the whole exercise here is really to take back your life and take charge back of who you are. And the last one, or the second last one in this book, if you remember from our trainings here, we've done it a few times. It's I think it's chapter 7 or 8, and we know about this vision that you have for your life and the passion that you have here about how you're going to do that. You remember this is 1 and 2. Does anyone remember the third one? Absolutely. A discipline plan. And this one, for most, is the biggest single issue that is not present for them. They don't have a plan, and it's certainly not very disciplined. Now, if you don't have a discipline plan, you will lose your vision of your money, and you'll lose your passion. And you'll lose your wife or husband the same way. If you don't have a discipline plan about how you're going to run your marriage, how you're going to have your children, how you're going to deal with things, then this gets lost somewhere. And of course, with that goes this lost as well. If you look at your health, if you don't have a vision of how you want your health and passion about that, you need a discipline plan. You'll find this comes up again and again and again in everything you do. And all of this is consciousness in the end. So he's got a culture of discipline in business, a culture of discipline. And when our company is in this, culture of discipline, although we have spontaneity and things like that, when we're in that culture, our life as a company works. If you look at Virgin Air, I just love that company. You see their culture of discipline, how they're disciplined about what they do, yet they're having all sorts of fun in there. And number 7 is the technological accelerator, using technology. But you see how late it is into this game. It's so important to keep up with the technology of the systems that you want. And number 8 is the flywheel and the doom loop. If you understand a flywheel, who understands what a flywheel's about? You can get it, you can push it, and then once it gets its own momentum, this becomes just a touch. It takes a bit to get the flywheel to go, and businesses take a little bit to get. Once they get going, there's a process, a momentum of itself. Whereas the doom loop is the make it, lose it, make it, lose it, make it, or go round and round in circles and go out the door. And then the last section is from good to great to build to last. You build an organisation that will last beyond you. So this is our book of the month, and we'll send them to you. There's a lot of them gone now, but we've just got some more in. And I don't know how much it is. I think it's not because it's a hard copy. I think it's like $40 or something. It used to be $60, but we got them cheaper, so I think about $40. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about this. I want to show you a couple of things on the screen. Before I do, I just want to talk about another concept, and that is the plates. Who knows about the plates in the air? And you see the guys at the circus, and he's got the plates spinning, and he can spin the plates. He's got the long thing, and off he goes and spins the plates, doesn't he? Then he gets another one, spins that, and he gets another one. And what's he do? He comes back and just does this and does this. And you see him all start, and he comes back. What a lot of humans do is spin the plates. They only usually get one going to get the job. And they're all day spinning their plate, all day. But some of them try and get a few other plates going, and then they haven't got this one done, they've got this, and they're all plates just fall on their head. So there's a process here, not just to get you excited about something, there's a process here that would have you spin the plates, but make sure you come back and spin them consistently, and you've got to learn how to do that. That's a real strategy. So let's have a little look at this, Seamus, and we'll see. Has it got a little... Are you going to do it for us? Oh, thanks. So we're doing this one on money. And Seamus did this beautiful thing. I find him amazing. Give Seamus a big clap here. He's very clever. What is money? So we had a little talk about that. Money's an idea. It's stuff, isn't it? It's an image that we build. What is not having money? Is there a difference between being broke and just being, poor? Is there a poverty for some? Is there a difference between being broke and being poor? Poverty is a mental disorder. And poverty is lack in its absolute complete consciousness. And there are people who grow up in poverty consciousness, and they're not just in third world countries, they're right here. And some of them are your neighbours, and some of them are living in your house, and some of you know intimately. In fact, if you look in the mirror, you'll find them, some of you. Poverty is a huge exercise in lack, mental disorder. Being poor is that whole consciousness. Being broke means you just don't have any money right now. Can that happen? Who's ever been broke? I know I have been broke from time to time. I've got pretty close to it. But if you're broke a lot for a long time, that's called poverty. So you want to watch the universe as it shows up how you think and how you're going, because the universe never speaks to you, it just shows you by its indicators. And it will always show you in the physical plane of what's going on. And particularly if you've made it, lost it, made it, lost it, made it, lost it. And I've been working with a guy who is been a wealthy man, but has made it, lost it, made it, lost it, made it, lost it so many times. And it's very hard to keep up. And I don't think the particular person is actually conscious about just how bad a situation that is for them. So this is always in the unconscious. Money is a virtue, or money virtue. So I want you to write this down. My money virtue is. Now this is some homework for you. Does anyone know what a virtue is? What's a virtuous person? True. And it's from within you. Yes. So, you know, a money virtue could be, I'm a money magnet and I attract money all the time. That could be your truth. Do you follow? If I asked you what your virtue was and you said, well, money's hard, you remember Richard, you know, how is it rich or is it hard? I think it's hard, isn't it? And you felt that was the silliest thing you ever said. When you are coming from the position of scarcity, then your money virtue might be, what's the inverse of virtue? Don't all shock me. Invirtuous, non-virtued? Sinner. We'll get to that. So, we know the inverse of fear is faith. And what's the inverse of control? Freedom, pretty close. Trust. When you trust, you give up complete control. And control is not necessary. But you have to trust yourself to trust anyone else. So trust is an inside job. So your job is to write this out and put on your card. You get a new 1 to 31 today. So my money virtue is, and then you got a space to write that. To me is, so these are words to think through. When I operate in alignment with my money virtue, I am. So my money virtue is, to me it is, whatever. So this is a thought external to you, or a thought of how you see money. This is how it is to you. And this is, when I operate in alignment with my money virtue, I am, usually abundant, prosperous, whatever. This is for your 1 to 31. You need more of that? I'll just do it again for you, so because some people didn't get that down. You can get a copy of this online if you want anyway, so don't think if you miss anything. You can play this again. This is being recorded. It will be on our website in about a week. When I operate in alignment with my money virtue, I am. Has everyone got that? Now, I'm going to use business as this exercise. We talk a bit about real estate and stuff, but I'm going to talk about business. Leadership systems, marketing systems, money systems, management systems, lead generation systems, lead conversion systems, client fulfillment systems. This is the if you like, the E-Myth kind of philosophies of building wealth and building money from a business. And we're going to have a little look quickly at some of these here, not again to take notes down everything, you can get it later, but just to see what this looks like. Your money system, which is an accounting, chart of accounts, general ledgers and all that sort of stuff, financial statements, profit and loss balance sheets, budgeting system, budgeting forecasts, cash management systems, business control system. This is all a money system, isn't it? This is how money is made. Now, your job is not to learn this. Your job is to get an accountant or a bookkeeper who can do this for you. But your job and responsibility is to understand the outcome of that. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be, your lack will get you here. I'm not an accountant, but it's very important for me to understand what I'm playing with. Because in our business, money's moving at a great rate of knots here. So, hardly anyone understands the idea of money. And the income earning strategies, usually there's three. The bad one, trading time for money, the 95%ers do that as their major income stream. The good strategy is investing to earn money, which is about 2%. That's like an investing. And the word here, Seamus, was the word I was after, was the greatest strategy is multiplying time through leverage and adding value. And that's 3% of the population do that. 95% of the world's money is controlled by 3% of the population. 97% of the world's money, 3%. So there's not many people up there. And we're in the strongest country in the world to do this. Unfortunately, we also have the highest priced real estate in the world currently as well, so that's going to give us a hint about where the prices of real estate is going to go. Not good. Seventh question. Everyone's trading their life for something, and what are you trading your life for? I'm going to suggest a lot of people are trading their life for money, and they're getting it on a pay pack of some kind or whatever. And when you're enjoying the balanced life of the new economy offers you, how will you spend your days? How are you going to spend your future life, and how are you going to do this? How's it going to work? And when your annual income becomes your monthly income through your money 3 strategy, what is the first thing you would change? So I just want you to think about that. When you're getting your yearly income paid to you every month now, let's assume that you're still working just for the sake of this exercise. Let's say you're an average person on $50,000 a year, getting $50,000 a month, or whatever number you want to put in there. What would change first? Just take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, what's the first thing you would do? And I want you to write that down right now. What's the first thing you would do? And let's assume that you stopped working. So you can't put that down. Because you couldn't possibly be getting your yearly income paid every month if you're still working for it. What's the first thing you would do? And we've got one lady here writing at the very front, travel in big capital letters. So she was looking for holiday. And the best thing tomorrow I would do is open a travel company quickly and start working in the travel business. At least you can start getting some familials and some educational travel under your belt and know where to go, which is even better. So what else? What else we got? What have you got? Pay yourself. That's a great thing. If you haven't got that, pay yourself first. First thing to do in all businesses. What did you get, Tommy? Celebrate. Wow, good job. Celebrate. What do you got, Brendan?
Yeah, I just picked up on the follow your desires now. So
Follow your desires now, get it done. What you got, Roscoe? Travel. Perfect. Okay, so whatever it is that you want, I'm going to suggest you don't have to wait till you get there. You can do it now. Okay. Who's the first person with whom you would share this creative approach to life? And Roscoe, Penny's thinking it's her, and I think that's probably a good bet. And maybe even Penny, with her wealth and wisdom and all that, she might even want to share with you. I think you're kind of pretty well an item. Yeah, no, I think it's the way to go. And for some people, they haven't got that item yet. They haven't made that decision. But I can assure you, you will have it with someone that you love and that you want to share that with. And who are 7 people who would take pleasure out of helping, become financially independent, and with whom you will enjoy being in business? Now, these are your dream team members. And I'm going to suggest you play this and look at that and who you want to pick the right people in the right places to do the right thing with you. People who are generous in heart and people you want to work with, and how you build that dream team. And that's what we want to do with you in this next decade, and not wait a decade to do it, but have a new dream team member every year, to fall in love with your dream, to have a perfect days and have this life to be this way. And the best thing about this is who you've got to become to step up to have that person attracted in your life. And how much additional monthly income do you seriously want to establish over the next 90 days through your multiple streams of income technology? Now, we have a plan always about adding another $2,000, adding another each month to your income stream. And within 10-month year, we can bring that up to $20,000 worth of income and do a real estate transaction as well. So when we go 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, in 10,000 in the first year, just every quarter adding $2,000, and have a 10-month year that's $100,000 plus a real estate transaction making $25,000, $125,000. And how can we help you begin now? Now, if that's an area for you, we're going to give you another card and ask that if you want to join us in some of this technology we're going to be sharing with you in this next month. And John's going to be helping us with this whole plan. And John, if you want to go down the hallway too and press that other button, I reckon that'll be out too by now. Okay, good. This is Matthew 13:12, and I'm not a religious person, but I think this is such a beautiful thing. And it just speaks from the place we've been speaking from. Whoever has been given more, and he will have an abundance. Sounds fair? Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. Now, when people read that, because that's the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer, Jesus spoke these words. And if you were an unfair person, or a person living on this planet, you think, gee, this is very unfair, don't you think? If you were thinking that, you know, you should be given equal chance and equal opportunity, and it's not fair, and the government, and you know, if you've got all this money, and how come? So, what is this about? Anyone got any idea?
You think you've got something in whatever you have, then you find more in everything that comes to you. You don't think you've got much, you'll always feel like there's less.
So I'm going to repeat that because we couldn't hear it on the machine there, but I'm going to try and say it as you said it. Lindsay said, if you think you've got a lot, you'll keep on getting lots. And if you think you don't have much, then that'll probably be true too. And you'll get less and less and less. So when a person comes from those who doesn't have, when they come from lack, can you see whatever they've got, they're going to lose? If you really understand and become the witness of that, what he was speaking was the truth, the absolute truth. When a person comes from this abundance, he'll be given more and more and more. It's a law. It's a natural law, and you've been in this law all your life. If you've been coming from lack, then I'm going to suggest that you don't have much. You can always tell how a person's doing by their results, as he said. Walking on the plains of Galilee, you shall know them by their fruits. He was saying you'll know how the tree is going by the fruit it bears. You'll know how a person's thinking by their outcome. You'll see it in everything they do. The amount of service they render is showing up in their life, and the lack that they have. The car that doesn't start, or the house that's falling down, or the various things, the clothes that have to mend because they are living in lack. It's not that the world doesn't have it, it's all there for them, but they are in it, and they're in it so deeply they don't know. So, and it's not nice because it's not here to judge anyone, to make fun or to criticise or blame or anything. It's just a matter of what is the truth. And if you're willing to face the truth will set you free. And when those words were said, most people won't tell the truth. They'll tell a form of truth. So this is it. Are we all clear about money doesn't make us happy? It just gives us choices. It's just about those choices. It's about a responsibility. It's about, it's like success is not really a goal. Success is a responsibility. It is your responsibility to be successful on this planet, to leave a legacy, to do what you need to do to be who you need to become. On that note, I'm going to ask Mr. Harry to come up here. We've got a microphone for him. And I'd like him to share a little bit about what's been going on and what he's done here, because he's done a great job of this. Let's give Harry Charlemagne a big clap here. Good. Now, Harry, you didn't get prompted that you were going to say anything here, did you?
No.
But as often you get called up, don't you? You notice that?
Yep.
That's good.
I have.
And my friend, my brother, just talk about whatever this means to you.
A couple of things just while I was sitting there and taking my notes and listening in there, and you mentioned attachment and the attachment to history and the attachment to things and our past and all that. And if I check in on times when lack shows up, for me it's generally more around attachment to the future, and I tend to feel that I can function on a small amount of sleep. I need some sleep. However, 5 or 6 hours is generally enough for me, and that's 5 or 6 hours of good sleep. However, if I notice myself going to sleep and then the little voice is still going, if I check in on what that's about, it's normally about how something is going to take place, how something is going to pan out that we have no control over anyway. So there is no point really having that play out. And then to check in on why that happens. And if we look at page 39, and so we're building the image, which I reckon I'm pretty good at doing. However, the second step of that, quite often we may overlook, and you'll go straight from build the image to expect with all your heart and soul that Spirit will reward you openly for your faith. So sometimes there's a spot in between there where maybe there's a little bit of not letting go, or not totally letting go, and just handing that over and saying, well, maybe this is out of my control, and yet we feel we can control the outcome. And it's all about us and in what we do, and in actual fact it has nothing to do with that. So in times when, like I said, if I check in and say, okay, so how is that playing out, it's probably to do with attachment on things that we have no control over in the future.
Absolutely. Just on that, if I could just come in there, we both have beautiful wives.
We do.
Who remind us of this regularly, Harry.
Absolutely.
And aren't they amazingly clever, how truthful they are, even though we don't want to listen to them, and how smart they are about that part.
Very much.
And that's a miracle in itself.
Mm.
I can obviously speak because I'm more into it with my wife, Katrina, who is such a heart of hearts and is so committed to opening into that truth of absolute abundance in her life. And when I experience my lack, which I regularly do, and it's all fear, and it's all about the future, and it's all about, and she'll look at me and say, why are you saying that? And I go, duh, you know, like, hello.
Yep.
And it's always so clear. So we're both blessed in that.
Very, very much. And that was when you're talking about who we're going to be having as part of our teams, and I think we're both very, very lucky in who we have as our most important team member. However, it's just amazing to watch that play out. And like I said, checking in, and when we were taking the notes there, and I thought, well, how's that playing out? And how's this playing out for me? And I think I'm pretty happy with the results we're getting. However, could they be better? Yes, they could. And certainly in some areas, it's always just important to notice where we can make some improvements too.
Well done. And Harry, you've done remarkably well. You know, you're obviously a huge success story for us. You know, doing $1 million in the first year and $1 million also in your business as well. Doing 12 transactions, doing over $7 million of profit and giving away over $7 million. Having $30 million worth of real estate within a half an hour walk of your home. From an electrician, that's pretty clever. And you started with a modest home with a mortgage on it.
Yep.
And you've operated pretty well in the area you lived in all this time, and brought up beautiful kids in all this, and you've got a sensational balanced life in my view, watching you, and I know you work, but it's very balanced. And
it was great down the beach this morning,
I
I'm
can
going to tell
imagine.
you. It was really good.
So, and holidays and kids, and we've been away to Disneyland together and all that with our kids and stuff. So, on that journey, what if you could say 3 things about money, because that was a driver for you when you started. You know, I remember distinctly in this, just below where we're standing right now,
Yep.
How important that was for you and what you needed to do.
Yep.
What would you say for people who are, 7 years starting out, knowing what you now know? What would you say to, based on what we've been talking about here?
So when you say what would I say, as in what was my driver, or are you talking about?
What hints or tips would you leave as the legacy of that?
That's a big question.
We've got time. If you say 3 things to say, okay, these were important to me.
Yeah. Number one for me, and I mention it pretty well every time we have this discussion, is about your why. Why do we want that? Quite often people will come up to me and say, look, I want to invest in some property, or I want you to help me with my trading transactions or whatever. And even just as simple as I'd like to buy a property. The question's why. So what is your driver? And when you asked the question earlier about the 5 things that we would do, if you had all the money you wanted or more money, number one for me was contribute more, give more. And that's one of my drivers. And certainly around that is also, within my family, my friends, and then the greater community. However, it's certainly not necessarily about just having to give it away. It's actually give in a sense of whether it's your time, whether it's some money, whether it's enabling someone else or showing someone else another path.
Something.
Yeah.
So just on that one, can you get that to, I don't know anyone who's successful consistently and profitable and abundant in their life that doesn't give away money. I just don't know anyone. I know a lot of people who have made money and lost it, made and lost it, but I actually don't know anyone who's consistently built their wealth and doesn't give the money away. So that's a hint, and that's all about contribution. And because it's not yours, it's just flow, it's just coming through. That doesn't mean tomorrow you go and get all your money and throw it away. It happens every day in my life in some form. We're on the plane with John, and the little tin came by, didn't it, John? And the money goes in. The kids today they paid their fees, massive amount of money for these kids. And they say, do you want to make a contribution for the building and to the scholarship fund? My accounts team always asks me that question every single time, and I go, yes, yes, and tick the box. And what they do with the money and all that. And there are people in this room and watching this, I'm sure, who have trouble with the fees, let alone be able to contribute. But yet I'm going to say to you, behind this is what Harry's saying, is that in that contribution is the giving up and giving up lack. Does that make sense to everyone? So in the old days, you gave it to the church, and 10% of what it was tithing and stuff, and now the government just takes it off you, and that's their tithing. But there are other ways of contributing, and it doesn't always have to be money either. Money will give you the greatest leverage. And in that issue that went on with the food thing, for the floods, sorry, they kept saying the same thing. Please don't give us 1,500, thongs. Give us the money, because people would rather buy their own clothes and their own things, and it's actually more transportable and all that stuff. So money is actually a great tool for that. And number 3. The
integrity of who you're working with and who you're being. And to look at how that plays out for me, when you hear me talk about a win-win, it's the integrity with those that you're doing a transaction with, whether you're running your business. We actually spoke to someone today that were looking for someone currently to work within our business, and she'd left her previous employment, and we asked her why she'd moved on, because she said she left by choice, and we said, why'd you do that? And she actually voiced that very thing. She said, I didn't like the integrity of the company that I was working with. And she said there was just some stuff going on there, and she said that wasn't for me. So you're getting that at, when people are coming to work with you, so whether it's in a business, whether it's in a property transaction, those people that you surround yourself with, and And I mentioned that when I read out, when you started with the question on what is money, and to me it was all about your environment and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. It's just a total reflection of who you are. So I'm just very careful about who I'm surrounding myself with, because I know that I'm a reflection for them and they're a reflection of me. So it's critical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well done. And the last thing, just to notice what Harry's saying there too, is that the ego has a great plan here about not the truth and how you interpret all those things. Would there be some people who have left companies that say, oh, they didn't have integrity? And maybe the person who was making the comment didn't have integrity. You know, how we have a justification story about lots of things. I'm not saying that's not true of this particular case. But our judgments and opinions can also be very interesting, and it's a question who's speaking, whether it's our ego that's speaking or whether it's our good spirit that's speaking. Because they do speak as if it's the truth, both of them. And one such a little nothing, little drop in the ocean and thinks it's the ocean, being the ego, and one is the entire universe. So it's a question of who you're listening to with all that, because when judgment gets in there and when blame and justification for a position, the ego is usually rampant in that area. It's very hard to sometimes distinguish it. But my observation of you, Harry, you're very able to step aside and have a look at that, and you know, you choose very well, I think, my observation. Last 7, 8, 9 years, you were telling me, I think it's 10, is it?
10 years in March.
In March. Well done. That would deserve a bottle of something, I'm sure.
I think so.
Or some chocolate, at least. Okay, any last thing you want to say, Harry?
No, that's
Just appreciate you. Let's give Harry a big clap.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good job. Give him a big hand. Come on, big hand. Harry's a master. We have such masters, and so generous of his time. You know, I see Roscoe always making contribution on mentoring calls. I haven't heard you for a while because you haven't been on, but every time always make great contribution. And there's other people here. John, there's other people who are masterful in what they're up to. And this is such an area to contribute and to build. And Cavell's here with his little iPad. How old are you, Mr. Cavell? 14. And what a leader this young man is. And nearly made it into the helicopter at the teens program. And again, just masterful at 14 to be in a situation where he's coming all the way from past Cronulla to get here tonight, so he can be here to have a listen. And we'll drive all the way, with his mum and dad, all the way back. Just amazing. Just so grateful. All right, now, we have another section, but I'm not going to do it because we're too late. And it was on business, but I will do it on our next one. It's about the 7 steps of what we need to do in business and stuff. But I'll be doing this on more of these programs. I just want to cover a couple of quick things. Tomorrow night, we have an iCan here, an intro session. And we're really wanting to help you build your dream teams, build your people who come. And I know Tommy's bringing a bunch of people along with, he wants to build his dream team, and there's others. And we've got a special super duper thing, and you don't know this, Tommy, but we're going to do it, you're going to get it anyway. Anyone who brings anyone who actually takes on our little beginners pack, you know, our little specific starter kit and our compass, success compass, if you like, they pay $200. And we're doing it as a cash back for anyone who recommends someone. It's just a little special thing, and if Tommy brings 6 people along and 6 of them do it, that's $400. It'll be an interesting little evening. And it's also part of our OneLife Direct program that we're going to be doing and helping you build your dream team and your wealth, because we're interested in 5 forms of income, and one of the income streams can be leveraged from others. So it's going to be something you'll hear more about. The other part that I want to just share with you is trust in God and tie up your camels. Always trust in God and always tie up your camels. There's a huge thing about trust, but there's also about tying your camels up. If you just trust in God and walk away, the camels walk away. So there's a little tying up process that needs to be done. Does that make sense to everyone? So we're going to stay back here tonight and have a little talk to some of you. We're going to be upgrading the format of these programs that are free every month, and you're going to hear some really exciting things about the changes for this new decade that we're bringing in. And you'll just watch the emails and stuff and you'll see the new free things we're going to be putting on, adding more value. I want to finish with, a best thing for everyone here. So, and my hope is we're going to see a few of you here back tomorrow night with some of your dream team members, or if you can't make it yourself, please send them along. You'll also get, make sure you get your new 1 to 31 card and start afresh with your card. Always have your card with you. If you're like me, you write all over it with little drawings and things, and always have it with you. And other little cards I use as well. So get your new one and get your new little deal here. And, oh yeah, super duper little extra special thing. You get a disc on Bob Proctor's on money. We've got them for you. It's got a little song singing there, and he talks about some of the things we've spoken about, so take it home. It's a little gift. And you won a book of anyone that you want outside because you did that very clever thing. Is there anything else I've got to do, guys, that I haven't done? John, why don't you come up here and bring a microphone? I want you to just give John a big clap here. And let's give him, put him on the spot here. He didn't know he was going to be brought up, but just like to put him here. John, for those of you who don't know, come from Western Australia. Roz, beautiful lady, have come over spending 18 months with us on the training, and he looks after Sydney and he looks after Western Australia, but he also looks after lots of other things, and he's building and helping us build some very, very important scoping things and stuff around IT and leveraging us and all that. I don't really particularly want to talk about that specific thing today, but just money and just your life. And Harry shared some things. Anything you want to share? Because you've been brilliant at leveraging yourself, and John's got some apps that he's put together. I just find out every time I'm with him the amazing things he does. It took him 8 years to build one of them, and it's one of the very powerful apps that you can download on your iPhone. You've got a great team. Anything you want to share, John?
Probably my biggest lesson in all of this, and it came as a life lesson in what I was doing, is just checking in to see, are you doing what you do best? And it might not come that simply to you because you've got a skill, and it might be a learned skill, and you're doing this learned action in a job or whatever you might be doing. It might be your own business, and you're doing these learned skills because it's the only way you think you know. Getting really clear on where your passion is, where your power is, and stepping into that and just doing that. And then, as Harry spoke about and as Roy spoke about today, finding the people and the team members that do the other things really, really well with you is such a massive key for me. When I was programming, and I love using it because I used to program IT, I used to write programs, coding. And I did that for about a year, maybe 2 years of my life, which was an absolute waste of my life from a perspective of I hated doing it.
No passion.
And I used to work hard at it, and I was terrible at it. And the moment that I actually gave it up and I went and said, hold on, let's have a look at the business because we're actually not doing so great on our marketing, and found that, hold on, here's something, something that's far more intuitive for me to do, and just came naturally. That gave me a little hint, I shouldn't be doing this, and I gave that up. But I stumbled over that. There's so many tools to find out and work out where your passion is, and especially for young people, rather than going through this whole motion of having to work this out yourself and find out, 5, 10 years or long when you're actually working for someone, working for yourself, or doing that in your business. Look at these tools now, find out where this really applies to you. Do the wealth dynamics profiling test. Sit down with a OneLife consultant and talk it through, so you can actually get some hints of where this is. Because It's so much easier. In fact, speak to your friends. They always know. They always know how good you are at something. And it was really because my friends used to tell me, yeah, John, you could sell,
Ice to the
ice to the
Eskimos.
Eskimos. And I go, what are you talking about? What is this? I didn't get it. And here I'm programming away. And I realised that the selling actually was the ability for me to market other people's things and actually shine a light on other people. When I got that, it all changed. So yeah, just ask the friends, ask the people around you. They will tell you what you're good at if you don't get it. And listen, because you don't always want to hear the things that they want to tell you. I didn't want to hear this whole set, I could sell things. So that was my biggest lesson. And getting out of the way of trying to do everything. Small business is just filled with, a sole proprietor giving your soul away for the money. Trading your soul for the business, trading your soul for money, not a good idea. It actually, the moment you actually you change the mindset, I can't afford the bookkeeper. The moment I change my mindset to the only way I can move forward more effectively is to put a bookkeeper in place, is when it changes. So just looking for the right things to do, again, getting yourself out of the way of that, surrounding yourself with fantastic people and checking in with those people around you, seeing who is around you and who's influencing you, who is creating that reflection of who you are. Having a look at the closest 10 people around you and just working out what level of wealth are they at, and that will give you a really quick sense of where you're at as well. And sometimes it means moving countries, which I've done once. Sometimes it also means moving states and cities, which I've done a few times. And finding and moving towards the people that really inspire you. That would be
big tips. And John, after our discussion at the airport the other day, one of the things I just want to share about John is and Harry was talking about before, is the massive integrity this man has, and how again he surrounds himself with people that he has and holds in high regard. And just your integrity, just amazing. And I'm just very, very impressed. And it's just great to watch. And you've certainly been tested many times. And you just keep stepping up, and doing that. And just the last thing he said about doing things he doesn't like to do, he's very good with computers and he can type and stuff. He's got a lady in Canada does his typing for him for $7 an hour. Can you think he might be able to earn a bit more than $7 an hour? So he sends it to her and comes back, all done. And that lady does it from home, and to her it's probably worth a lot to her, and there it is. If it was $10 an hour, $20 an hour, even $30 an hour, it would be still better for him. And can he do it? Of course he can do it. But what is he best doing? So what is it you're best doing? Well done. Let's give him a clap. Good job. Thank you, John. Give him a big room. Come on. All right. So, who's had some fun? Who's learned something? So I'm going to get everyone. We get a microphone here just real quick. We'll do our best thing. We'll start with you, Harry. Or we'll start there. Dan. Get another one down here, Mr. Zolti. Go ahead.
The lack of attachment.
Lack of attachment?
Yeah, let go. Just let go.
Beautiful. It's past time. We're not going to clap in. We're just going to do it real quick. Just a word or whatever. Go for it. Best
Coming
thing.
from abundance.
Coming from abundance. Perfect. Best thing.
I got a bit of the lack and the two words abundance.
2 words abundance. Pass it on. First thing.
Having a job gets you nowhere.
Job gets you nowhere, yeah. And it's good that you're a student. Good to get a job. Make sure you can turn up. Get that job. Get into the habit of it, working, because if you can't do that, you won't have anyone else either. It's part of the destiny. It's also part of the passage, the rite of passage. Very good.
It's just been a gift to experience the environment that you've got here and be invited towards it, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate Brendan too, and I appreciate John suggesting this, because we were actually suggesting tomorrow night, and that's great. You might come to that too. These guys are visitors here. They've not done our abundance program, so just give them a big clap. Well done. First thing.
Acceptance and understanding takes you from upset to freedom.
Absolutely. Good job. You've been very good at that.
Probably, unfortunately, you driving home a bit of pain into a lot of things I've done wrong.
And the truth sets you free. And it's not judgment or guilt.
No, I appreciate it.
The ego actually has this big thing on guilt, which is such a wrong thing. Bernard Shaw had the one about it's a sin to be poor. You remember that? And most people get why that is, and they stick to that. What does sin mean? archery term, miss the mark. All it is, you've missed the mark if you're poor. But we would have it beat ourselves up. There is no sin. In fact, there's only one of you here. Just you. That's all there ever is. And watch that guilt thing. That's the work of the ego. Good job. Pass it on. Over here. Best thing, Jeb.
I think it's mindset. It's funny that Jasmine hasn't been to Abundance, and she was talking on the way here and said, "Mum, I don't want to work for a job the rest of my life. I've got over $1,000 in the bank. What can I do with it?"
What a startling piece of information for a young girl.
And she starts uni in 2 months. So, yeah, she's at the beginning of her life already thinking that way, and
Right.
it is such a mindset.
Perfect. Well done. Congratulations. Best thing.
Reminder about discipline and tying up the camels.
It's good. Well done.
For me, it was the more service you give, the more you move towards abundance.
Yes,
or the more
service
you
is
attract
always a gift. Greatest gift. Good job. Best thing.
Money is a great servant, just a poor master.
Absolutely. Well done. Pass it back. Go ahead.
Letting the attachments go so I can get into my flow.
Well done. Just pass it behind you. And Cavell will pass it.
Let go.
Let go and let God. Expect with all your heart and soul, Spirit's going to reward you openly for your abundance.
Come from abundance and the lack will disappear.
So just say it again, Cavell.
Come from abundance and lack will disappear.
Come from abundance and lack cannot show up at all. When the light is on, there is no darkness. And there is no dark switch, there's only a light switch. When the light is on, there is nothing else. When abundance is present, there is no lack. It's impossible for them to be at the same place at the same time. Very good.
Value other people's opinion.
Value other people's opinion. Particularly when they're coming from a space of openness and the truth. They're coming from a place of an agenda, or they're in blame and justification for their position, then it's obviously difficult. It's all difficult stuff, isn't it, to interpret these things. But well done, Trevor.
How will a dash be in your tombstone?
Yeah, how would the dash, what's it going to say? Yeah.
What value are you putting in your mind, and who you surround with, and where do you hang out with?
Absolutely, well done. You just said.
All right. That when you lack, you can't go anywhere.
When you are in lack, you can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go.
Believe in yourself.
Good job. Good job. You're well done. Any of my team want to say anything, John? You're all done. All good. Okay, please stand up. I'm going to take these microphones off you. It's very good. Very good. And we're going to... We never focus on what we don't want, right? So we can't focus on lack. We've got to focus on abundance. So we go and rub our hands together. Abundance, 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 abundance. Oh, yeah. And give one arm.